I'm not a dancer, y'all been laughing at me all day. But so let's get a little bit of, they brought some energy here, but I want to see which side is the loudest. Which side can give me more energy? I'm a competitive guy. Okay? I'm a competitive guy. So I gotta see what side is gonna give me the most energy. Now we ain't got no money involved, but we got a little bit of pride involved. So when I say how you do it, I'm gonna point to your side, and you're gonna get as loud as you can. So, to my right, how we doing this afternoon? So, to my left, how are y'all doing today? That's what I'm talking about. So, cameraman, what side do you think you want that? Don't be mine. The right side. Yeah! But, hey, left side, you did the thing. Believe me, y'all gave some energy, and I appreciate that. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Keon Marcel. I want to first thank Ms. Nikki and Plus Positive for having me here to speak at this event. Once again, I'm a youth development consultant. I'm a motivational speaker for youth. But most importantly, I'm an advocate for youth. So any event that I get a chance to participate in that deals with the youth, I always want to take that opportunity to express what I do and who I am. So today's summit is about the B word that we've been talking about, not the other B word, but we're talking about bullying, okay? So that's what today's conference is. I know a lot of people, we don't like to discuss it, especially as teens, because it's sort of lame when you talk about being bullied or whatever. But we're going to talk about a little bit of it today. So, what we're going to do is, now I'm not a Spike Lee or Quentin Tarantino or even Ice Cube, so I'm not a famous director, but a few years ago, I had the privilege of being the team director at a Boys and Girls Club. And we put together this bullying video for a contest that we were doing. So what I want to do is have my man Mo go ahead and debut this. This is the world premiere of my bullying video. As soon as Mr. Mo gets that queued up, then we're going to go ahead and do it. Hold on. It's a glitch in the matrix.
Where you think you'll go?
Cleveland, not today.
If you're running, you're going to have to deal with me.
Little time you bullying me. You gonna get it one day.
Sorry, I took your money. It won't happen again.
We have to stop the cycle of bullying.
It's our generation that has to stop. We need to make a change.
Bullying really doesn't have a face. Anybody can be a bully.
Yeah, bullying doesn't have a face. Bullying doesn't have a face.
Bullying doesn't have a face.
Bullying doesn't have a face.
So, that was the video that we put together. And the message behind all of that is bullying does not have a face, which means anybody can be a bully. Now, by show of hands, now we're all in this together. I'm talking about adults, I'm talking about teens, everybody that's in this room. You don't have to be embarrassed. What I want to do is ask a question. In your lifetime, by show of hands, how many people have been bullied at least once in their lifetime? Raise your hands. Awesome. So, there's no need to be embarrassed because it's a thing that's been happening. It's nothing new up under the sun. So give me a little bit. I'm from Gary, Indiana. Oh, we got it. Okay. We all over the world. Don't worry. We spread like cockroaches. But I'm from Gary, Indiana. And in Indiana, it was a very, very poor place. We didn't have much growing up. But I'm a hefty guy, but even as a kid, I was still a big kid. So, I've gotten called every name, every fat joke in the book. So, if you're a big person, you know what I'm talking about. But I've gotten called so many different names in my lifetime that after a while, you learn how to roll with the punches and you deal with it. But in my lifetime, I've seen people get bullied. I've seen stories about people being bullied. And it never has an age to it. But what has happened over the years is that increasingly it's gotten a whole lot worse. So a few years back, matter of fact, right up the street at an elementary school here, 5th grader named Shaheem, he killed himself. And some of you all may remember it, some of you all may not, but he was in 5th grade in elementary school, literally 5 minutes up the street from here. And what happened was, a lot of people at school, they were calling him gay, they were calling him this, they were calling him that, and he got tired of the teasing. So one day, he was at home, normal day, and his mom calls down for him to come down for dinner. He didn't answer. So she goes to check on him, and what he had done was taking the cord from the blinds, wrapped it around his neck, and hung himself. Because of the chronic teasing that was going on at school. Now, I know some people say, I don't understand how you can get bullied, but everybody's different. Everybody can't handle it the same. Some people handle it differently. So, I'm from Gary, Indiana, and I've been called, I have nicknames, Fat Dude, Fatty. But the worst ones were, I don't know if anybody remember this movie, it's called The Blob. Yeah, you remember the movie? And this blob is this big old slime thing that just slides down the street, eating up everything in sight. So that was my nickname, Blob. Or I would get called Wide Load or Moinoink or whatever. So it was so many names that I would be called. But after a while, you just almost, you internalize and you get used to it. So aside from my weight, also my teeth are very spaced out. So that would be talked about as well. And literally, for about 28 years, I never would open my mouth and smile. Because I did not want to hear the ridicule that would come. Now, you can't stop me from smiling. Because I love me. But see, that's where you have to get to. That's the point where you have to get to, is you have to love yourself. How many people are Kendrick Lamar fans? All right. So Kendrick Lamar has a song called I, which is saying, I love myself. So you have to be able to love you first, because if you love you, then I don't care what anyone says, no one can tear you down. Because you got enough self-esteem that no one can tear you down. But here's how I knew that I had low self-esteem. I went to Redan High School up the street. Now I worked at this restaurant. So we're at work one day, and we're in the kitchen, and we're joning, and talking about each other, passing back and forth. But then, all of a sudden, the entire kitchen sort of gangs up on me and starts throwing like constant jokes and jokes and jokes. And literally, as a teenager, I walked out of the kitchen and I went, I'm crying my behind off. Because at that time, it became too much. So all the years of this building up, I never cried because somebody talked about me before. But all these years, I walked out and I started bawling. My friend Kobe Ladd, she came over and she sat with me. She said, you know what, you have low self-esteem. I didn't know what it was. She said, what is that? She says, well, you don't love yourself. You don't like who you are. And something happened in that moment that made me say, you know what, never again. And since that day in high school, you can't say anything about me to make me feel bad. Because what happened, I got a quick tongue. So you say something to me, I'm coming right back at you. I learned how to take those insults and turn it around on you. And that's how I ended up making it work and work for me. So you gotta oftentimes do what works for you. You gotta take that negative and turn it into a positive. And I know people say, well, you're still talking about somebody else. But what happened is, once I did that, they realized they didn't have any ammo. So if you don't give anybody any ammo, they don't have anything to talk about. If they talk about you and they see it bothers you, then what happens is they keep going. And they keep doing it. And they do it more because now they got, they see you suffering from it. People like to see other people suffering, especially when they're suffering themselves. But when you don't give it to them, if they talk about you, like, oh, okay, what else you got? Man, this ain't even fun no more. Because it's not fun anymore. So don't give them your power. The only way that anybody can have control of you is if you let them have control of you. You are in charge of your own power. So the power that you have internally is yours and not to give to anyone else. If someone can control you with a remote control, which is basically what they're doing, you've given your power away. So don't allow that to happen. Let me ask you another question. All those that have been bullied before, what oftentimes happens is when we get bullied, sometimes we turn into the bully. So by show of hands, how many people has been the bullies? And don't be ashamed. How many people has been a bully to someone? Thank you. I got a few honest people. Because I know we've done it. Everyone does it. So in elementary school, I went to Washington Elementary School. So I was a big guy, low self-esteem. I couldn't fight. I was a little punk. I ain't gonna lie. I couldn't fight to save my life. So the only thing I had going for me was my size. So I remember one time there was this kid named Judah. He walks up to me. You know, he's puffing up. You know, because he feel like he can do it. And I pushed him so hard. He's like, man, you got this. I ain't even gonna fight you. So I used my size to my advantage at that time. So at that point, I'm building up. I'm like, okay, so I'm seeing people that I can pick on myself. So this kid, his name was Drew. Now, Drew, his mom was in a wheelchair. And people knew it around the school, but that's just not something you talked about. He didn't talk about it much. But me, because I wanted to get at somebody else, I figured, I can say this. So I said, you know, we going back and forth, we joning. And I said, well, at least my mom ain't in a wheelchair. At least my mama can walk. Whoa, why did I say that? This dude got so mad. Now, back in the day, we did a little different. I'm an 80s baby. Now when people fight, they just break out and fight in school. We did a little differently. So he's like, what you talking about my mama? After school. Now, when somebody said after school, you knew what that meant. You knew it's time to throw down. So in the 80s, we planned the fights out. All right, after school, 3:30 on the corner right there at 11th Avenue. You know what I'm talking about. We planned those fights. Because we knew if he fought in school, we get in trouble. We wasn't going to get in trouble. So we planned it. So Drew said, after school. Man, now I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I ain't finna fight this dude. I've seen him fight before. I couldn't fight with a done. So me being a thinking man, I think my way out of any situation. So what I end up doing, I'm looking at the time, the kids around school like, oh, it's going down after school. Oh, you gonna get beat up, boy. Drew finna kill you. I'm like, oh, Lord, get me out of there some kind of way. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna have to figure something out. So I said, all right. I found an alternative route to walk home. So the way that I normally walk home, nah, so I'm gonna go around this way here. I'll walk all the way around the school and all up home just so I wouldn't see him. Oh, I'm gonna get beat up. But that taught me a lesson right there. That if you don't want something like that to happen, a reaction, then don't do it. There's certain things that you just don't discuss, certain things you just don't talk about. So don't become the bully yourself. So even though people are picking on you, don't be the individual that turns around and does the picking on. Now anybody, just like the video said, it doesn't have a face. So it can be your friends, your family, your teachers, educators, anybody. So I'm in the 5th grade. A lot of stuff happened to me in elementary school. And I had a teacher, her name was Miss Hightower. So we were very poor coming up. I mean, we didn't have, half the time the water would be cut off, electricity cut off, we didn't have color TV. We got new clothes once a year around tax season. You know, so we were very poor. Matter of fact, I had a homeless guy come up to me and offer me some change one time. Here, brother, let me give you this, man. You look like you need it. So we were poor. So one day our water was cut off. So now, can't bathe. So I have this bottle of Wild Country cologne at home. It's old as Avon cologne. This is old. So I have this cologne, and I'm putting it all on myself. So I take it to school and I keep it in my locker. Didn't have no deodorant or anything. So lunchtime comes around, I go in, put a little bit on the hand, put it all on the body, you know, think I'm finna smell good. So I'm like, all right, I'm good now. So I'll go into the class, we sitting there, and you know, students, man, kids, they ain't got no chill. They gonna say what they want to say. So they sitting there, somebody stank. And they just sitting there, Miss Hightower, somebody stank. And the whole time I'm like, it ain't me, boy, I'm smelling good. Woo, I got my cologne on, I know I smell good. So they sitting there, she going around sniffing like an old hound dog. Just sniffing, she stopped in front of me. Mr. Mary, is that you? I'm like, oh Lord, she done got me. She said, She said, don't you know you can't mix cologne with funk? I said, oh Lord, okay. So now I'm starting to feel bad, my head down. She said, come here, follow me. So she moves me. Put your chin right here, sit by the window, and she opens that window. She said, that's your seat for the rest of class. You talking about somebody feeling bad? I didn't know how to respond. So everybody talking about me the whole time. They laughing. You know, I'm over there chewing on my ink pen top because I don't want to, you know, have to face it. But yeah, my teacher. So it doesn't matter who it is, anybody can affect you in that way. So what I'm saying is, don't allow those certain people to come at you that way without doing something about it yourself. What you have to do is find that way to actually love who you are, to actually love yourself. You have to feel good about you. Now, one thing about y'all's generation, this is, to me, the best generation that I've seen. Now, adults look at me like you're crazy. But let me explain to you why. I think this is the generation that has the ability to change the world and make it to the way that we've been trying to do for years. Because this generation sees no color. This generation of kids don't care about sexual orientation. They don't care about who you are. If you're you, that's all they matter. They just want to have fun. So I think this is the greatest generation. And to all my teens, don't listen to it when people say that you all are out of control. That something needs to be done. Oh, this needs to be locked up. Because here's the thing that most adults don't like to admit, is that we were teenagers ourselves. And a lot of times we forget how it is to be a teenager. Every teenager acts the exact same for the most part because our brain works the same way. It's scientifically proven. And the way that the teen brain works. So when adults are talking down on this generation, it is a form of bullying. It is. They call my generation Generation X, the unknown generation. Said my generation was the worst in history. And now the Generation Xers are turning around talking about the millennial generation. Said it's the worst generation in history. But here's the actual truth. It's not the worst. To me, it's the best. You all have access to so much technology. You have access to so many things to help change this world into what it needs to be. You all have the ability to erase bullying. Period. Because if people take a stand for it, then it can no longer exist. So y'all have that opportunity. But you all have to make sure that you're using that opportunity correctly. So these days you have cyberbullying. Where you go on social media, which everybody's on social media. That's life now. Nobody talks anymore. It's all on social media. I got 2,000 friends now. You got about a couple. Those not your friends on social media. It's social media friends. But there's a thing called cyberbullying. Everybody knows what that is. Where an individual gets talked about online. And they get teased online. And what they do is you do it online because you don't know who I am. I can talk about you all I want without any repercussions because you don't know who I am. But there's been several people that have committed suicide from being cyberbullied. There was a young man, I don't know his name, but I saw the story. He was telling his friend that I'm going to kill myself because such and such online, they keep talking about me, this and that. So the friend, she thinks he's playing. He said, I think you should do it. Yeah, go ahead, thinking he's playing. What he actually did. And she got charged also because she encouraged him to do it. So you all have an opportunity with this generation to make change, to make things happen. You all have a great opportunity. When you see these videos that are online of people fighting and students fighting, don't share that crap. Here's how you end it. You delete it. Because the only way things get passed around is if you share it. If you share it, then it goes viral. Now the people that were in that video, now they're feeling bad. Because now what they've done is their image is all over the internet, all over the world. Because you decided to share it. And we share it because for us it's entertaining. Oh man, they behind me. But me, I choose not to watch it. I will not share it, I will not repost it. Because here's the thing, no matter what your situation is, I don't care if you're in poverty, if you're, whatever your situation is, if you're poor, no matter what it is, your situation does not have to define who you are. So don't let that be a reason for the way that you behave the way you do. Because look, I grew up very poor, like I told you. Did I act out a lot? Yeah, I did. I should probably be locked up right now, honestly. But I had people around me that cared about me enough. They're called mentors. And what I encourage you all to do is to find you one. Find you somebody that can guide you. Because what happens is, as a teen, we don't know everything. You all don't know everything. You might like to think that you know everything, but you don't. So what you do is you find somebody that can guide you, that can take you along this journey. My mentor was my math teacher from middle school. What happened, I was standing outside of the class. I got put out because I was being hard-headed, being disrespectful. So I'm sitting in the hallway, just standing there. And this kid's walking down the street, down the hallway. And he walks up to me, and without any provocation, he cold cocks me on the side of my head. And I stumble a little bit, and I get back up and I shake it off. The only thing I remember him saying was, "Oh man, you can take a punch." And he knocked me again. This time I fell to the floor. And he took off. Teacher came out there, pulled me back in, so my head was swollen on the side. Come to find out, this kid in middle school, in 7th grade, was drunk and high on some drug. And he went terrorizing kids around. But at that point, my math teacher became my mentor. And he's the one that helped guide me through being poor back home. He helped guide me from not joining that gang that I really wanted to join. Because all of my neighborhood were GDs. They were gangster disciples. And I wanted to join them so bad, but they wouldn't allow me. There was a time they were going to fight another rival gang in Ivanhoe Projects. So I'm coming along with them. Come on, y'all, I want to go. I want to go. No, man, go home. This ain't for you. And I'm like, come on, man, let me go. They got big backs and all this stuff. No, man, this ain't for you. Go home. I'm like, come on, man, let me go. No, man, it's not for you. They said, if you don't go home, then we gonna beat you up. So it was something that they saw in me that I didn't see in myself. So luckily, they would not allow me to join. But it was that mentor that kept me and kept pushing me forward. It was that mentor that guided me. So here's what I want you all to do. I want you all to find a positive individual. Someone that you know can be a positive role model in your life. And I want you to walk up to them and I want you to say, hey, can you be my mentor? Now, a mentor's job is to guide you, to teach you, to show you the correct way. And you say, can you be my mentor? Now, the first time if they say no, you go back to them again. And this time you don't give them an option. You say, hey, I appreciate you so much for being my mentor. Because nobody's going to keep turning the child down unless they're just plain evil. And then you don't need that person anyway. But that mentor will guide you so far in life that I promise you, if you get one, if you go and search one and you find one, then you will be better off. But I want to say to you again, don't give away your power. Don't let people take control of you. You're not a robot that somebody else can control. You control you. You control your emotions. You control what happens to you. And that mentor can be someone to go and talk to when you don't understand what's going on. They can be somebody that can be your ear when you don't have anyone else to talk to. So don't let your situation define who you are. And I want you to remember, someone else's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Please remember that. Someone else's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. It didn't become mine. I'm not defeated. I stand here in front of you today a better individual than I ever been before. Because of people that helped me out. Because when I went to seminars like this, I actually listened and I paid attention. And I said, you know what? It's not going to be me. I said, by the time I'm 40, I'm going to be a millionaire. Am I there yet? No, I'm 36. Got 4 years left. So I'm working hard, don't worry. I'm working hard to reach that goal. But I'm going to reach that goal. And it's because of people that helped me along the way. So I want you to have those same opportunities. Forget what your situation is. I don't care if you're in the hood, if you're poor, whatever your situation is, you can come up out of that. It doesn't have to define you. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what sexual orientation you are. You can do what you want to do. And you've heard it so many times. But I promise you, if you work hard enough, you can be, no matter what it is you want to be, you can do it. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. Because you have that ability. Everybody in here has greatness with them. I don't care if you're 50 years old, if you're 60 years old, it's never too late to do what you want to do. Everybody has greatness. You have to realize that full potential, that God-given potential that is inside of each and every one of us, and you fulfill that. And all those things that were said about you as a child, all those things that was done to you as a child, being bullied, the best revenge is to be successful. So that's how you do it. So I'm going to ask one last thing before we wrap it up. I want everybody that's in here, I don't care how old you are, I need you to stand up. Stand up out your chair. This is not optional. Just stand up right by your seat. If you're able to. If you can't, then don't worry about it. I understand. So the name of this summit is Take a Stand. So what you are doing right now is taking a stand against bullying. Because we've sat around too long and let it happen too long. We sit around shaking our heads, oh, something's got to be done. But we don't stand up for it. So if you stand up for it, then we can erase it. There's an old thing, if you stand for something, you won't fall for anything. So stand for something. You're taking that stand right now. So as you're standing, I want you to go ahead and embrace that in yourself and say, no more. No more. No more. No more. No more. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. Let me ask you, we have any questions? Anybody have any questions? You can sit back down. You have to keep that up. Anyone have any questions that they need to ask? Well, I really appreciate you and I thank you for your time. I thank you for listening. And you all have been absolutely wonderful. Thank you.